All right, good evening and welcome to today's coffee break. My name is Katie and I will be moderating our event this evening. And we promised to make this one quick, so let's go ahead and get started and I'll talk to you a little bit about what you will be learning today. So you're all here because you want to learn about becoming a teacher at Brenau University, and that is what we're going to do. We're going to teach you a few things. First of all, I'm going to introduce you to the experts who can help you with your goal. They are going to talk about our teacher preparation degrees, how they're taught, and why they're the perfect fit for adult students. And after all that, we're going to dedicate a good 10 to 15 minutes to your questions. So if you have any burning questions about how these degrees work, what it's like to be a teacher, what Brenau is like, now is your chance to ask them from our experts. So at the bottom of your screen, you will see a Q&A icon. Click on that, type your questions in, and at the end of our very brief presentation, our hosts will answer them for you. So let me go ahead and get started, and I will introduce you to our hosts this evening. We are joined today by Shay, Lambson and Kristin Betz. Between the two of them, Shay and Kristin bring decades of higher education and even in classroom teaching experience to their roles on our expert enrollment team. So we are very lucky to have them with us today because they know education programs and online adult education front and back. So without further ado, I am going to turn the time over to Shay to get us started.
Hi, and welcome. So first off, I just want to say thank you so much for taking a little bit of the time and coming here and learning a little bit more about it. But I'll briefly go over some of the programs that we have and how they might fit for you and what you're looking for. So we start with our associate's degree program, and our associate's degree programs are really ideal for a student who maybe has under about 40 credits, sometimes even around 30 credits, looking into education and maybe needs to raise their GPA up in order to get into a bachelor's degree, or just has fewer credits in general. It's a little bit less expensive than a bachelor's degree, starts you off in the right space, and allows you to take that milestone into your general education courses, timestamp that, and then move seamlessly into our bachelor's degree. Our bachelor's degree, we're really excited to offer a few more of the options, both middle grade and special, fully online. So what that means for you is you can actually get the majority of all your curriculum done 100% online. And then we have field experience or student teaching, which is in a classroom, but we partner with dozens and dozens of schools around Georgia that can help you establish a place in the classroom and get your field experience where you need it and your student teaching complete. Now, if you've already gotten your bachelor's degree, it can be a little intimidating to switch fields, maybe move into a career that's different with your education, but we've provided that pathway for you to be able to get that teaching license through a master's degree. And that master's degree is very similar to the bachelor's. You are going to be able to complete the majority of your coursework fully online. You will have some student teaching or field experience or some type of an internship if you may. Some people are already working in a school district and just simply need that license. And this is a fantastic program for those students. So we've really tried to open up the doorway, give you guys plenty of options. But that's what we do. We really want to make sure that we can get you all the way to licensing right there in Georgia. And I think from here, we're going to move on to the next slide. And we're going to let Kristin talk just a little bit about what our classroom is and how it's set up.
Sure. Thank you very much, Shay, and welcome everybody. Our teaching programs are set up to provide more flexibility for our online learners. At Brenau University, we typically take 2 classes at a time every 7 weeks and occasionally 14 weeks, and offer 6 starts throughout the year. The MAT is offered twice a year, one time in January and also in August. So that is coming up. So time to prepare is now. Our coursework is 100% online, and the field experience and student teaching are offered at the schools to provide real-life understanding, practice, and student involvement. We are recognized by Georgia Professional Standards Commission. Our programs are intended for students who live in Georgia, so the programs are designed, accredited, and follow strict guidelines to meet the licensing requirements for the state of Georgia. Another reason, Brenau has just recently been recognized for another honor. as the #1 best in Georgia offering elementary education programs by the 2021 Plexus Global Rankings. And to give some praise to our graduate program, the U.S. News and World Report for 2020 awarded Brenau as the best private university for our graduate programs in education. So to say the least, we are very proud of our university. Here's Shay to go over our support system.
All right. Ooh, that last slide. I love seeing some of those accomplishments, but it really speaks to what we do and the quality of which we want in our program, both for our students and really what we're trying to develop in future educators. You guys are so important. Teachers are so vital to us. And because of that, because of the demands of the program, we've established a little bit of a support system, both in and out of the classroom for you to, one, get through your admissions process as seamless as you can and know all the admission steps. And that's where your enrollment coach is going to come in. So what we strive to do is really create a very easy process for you to follow in a complicated standard world. So we go ahead and we try to align with the Georgia standards, and we make sure that we tell you which requirements to be ready for. We'll also set the pace of when you need them. Deadlines are a big deal in the education world. We all know that every time we teach a child, it's a big deal to have a deadline. Well, it's no different for our college students. So having a deadline, making sure that you're meeting that deadline, it's going to be vital. We do have 2 starts for the MAT program coming up, and we are rolling out those bachelor's programs. We should have those year-round starts. So they're fantastic places to be in. But make sure you get with an enrollment coach so that you can go over your transcript requirements. You can go over your GACE requirements if you have any, and we can help prepare you for the track, get you with the Dean of our education, speaking with your faculty advisor, and help you register for those courses. Once you're in class, it's really vital that you pay attention to your GPA in an education program. Okay. And to help you really facilitate, navigate this program, we have our success coach. And Miss Tessa is amazing. She really does keep her students right on track, making sure that your GPA is where it needs to. And if it begins to dip, it's really important that she connects you with the resources that you have available in order to pass those. As you may already know, there is a GPA requirement in order to sit and get your license as a teacher. Okay. And so we keep a good eye on that and really kind of help you get to where you need to and provide those resources for you. It's vital, right? We're all busy. We're working adults. It's kind of crazy out there nowadays. And so for us to be able to make it a little simpler for you, have a little bit of a guardian angel looking over your grades, it's important to us to help you through it. All right. And then we have our faculty members, and hopefully some of you have had a chance to interact with any of our faculty, but they truly are amazing. We try to keep the class sizes a little lower. With the education, we really want to put an emphasis on the quality of what you're getting. And it's one of the reasons we've been able to maintain those standards of excellence and be recognized for this program. We have close relationships with our faculty and students. We really do keep those classes a little tighter, a little smaller, and we want to make sure that you have plenty of time to be able to talk to your advisors or your success coaches. Now, online resources, you heard me talk a little bit about it with your success coach, but it's important to know that we do try to make sure that you have an environment that if you're struggling in a particular area, you're able to tackle it with the right resources and support possible. Nothing better than knowing that if you are struggling in an area, you may have some help, and we try to offer that. So we have tutoring, we have our writing center, and we have our math center for those students who are seeking it. And if you're taking your GACE and you need to prepare for your GACE, you may know it's not always easy. Math, some of us took that a long time ago, and you might need some help. So we have some resources to connect you to hopefully make even those tests a little more seamless for you.
Great. Thank you, Shay and Kristin. Thanks for the quick run through of the different education programs that we have here at Brenau. Before we turn over to our Q&A session, I just wanted to make a couple of reminders. First up, classes start as soon as June 28th. As Kristin said, some of them do start in August. But if you are interested in a bachelor's or an associate degree, you can get started on your goal toward becoming a teacher in as soon as a month and some change, about a month and 4 days. So please give our enrollment coaches a call or an email. You can call them at 888-712-5177 or email them at success@ags.brenau.edu. And that is a lot to remember. So we have added that into the chat. If you take a look at the bottom of the screen, you'll see a chat icon with 2 red notification numbers, and that is where you can jot that down for quick and easy reference. So let's go ahead and move into our Q&A session. If you joined after we started, welcome. We're so happy to have you here today. We're going to have Shay and Kristin answer some questions. Some did come in already, but if you do have questions, please type them into the Q&A icon that you see at the bottom of your screen. So the first one is an easy one. Shay, I'm going to give this one to you. Katura wants to know, what is the start date for January?
Ooh, the January coming up. I better pull my calendar up for that one. So I assume you're probably looking for an MAT program, which is offered in January. You're going to have a start date in August, and then, like I said, again in January. And next January, we are looking to start classes, I believe, on the 10th or 17th. Our calendar hasn't been finalized yet, but I would go ahead and just put in your own personal calendar. Start date would be on the 10th, so you can prepare ahead of time. Okay. Whenever you're going into a program, the state exams that are maybe needed in order to get into that program can take a couple of months to be taken, processed, passed, all of that fun stuff. So don't procrastinate it. You want to get ahead of it as soon as possible. Even if you're starting in January, our applications are good for entire year. So it really is beneficial that if you're thinking of a January, you get in touch with us. We'll have an enrollment coach walk over the entire process for you and really just kind of make it, like I said, really seamless for you. Make it as easy as we can.
Perfect. So while we are on the topic of start dates, Shay, do you mind reminding us the start dates between now and January?
Yeah, so we have our start date coming up on June 28th, and that's going to be if you're looking for your elementary education bachelor's, and if you're looking for your associate's degree, it's a great time to start. Absolutely fantastic time to start. Talk about getting acclimated into school. It's one of our favorite. I love the November, and I love this June start because they're a little smaller, little tighter, and you get a lot more attention in your courses. And if you're nervous, it's been a while since you've started school, it's a fantastic, fantastic place to start. We've got another start date coming up in August 23rd. And that's going to be one of our biggest, most traditional start dates. And so we do kick off and launch off our 2 brand new bachelor's degrees that we're offering fully online, not brand new to the university, but brand new to the online sector, middle grades and middle grades and special education for the bachelor's. Our MAT program also starts there. So you're in an ideal space. If you're looking at your master's, you're wanting to get that done, now's the time to talk to a coach because you want to get your GACE exams done ASAP, right? ASAP. So you have plenty of time to feel prepared.
Great. Thank you, Shay. Now I'm going to turn this next one to Kristin. Kristin, Tammy, who has joined, is a paraprofessional. So first of all, Tammy, welcome. You would be in good company. We've got a lot of parapros here in our programs. Tammy wants to know if her paraprofessional experience will count for student teaching.
Well, we do have real life experience that can be discussed with admissions regarding your next steps. Whether or not you are looking at going into your MAT at this point, or you're a parapro with your associates going into your bachelor's program. So we always, when we first apply, or that you apply with your free application, we request transcripts, and then there's also a portfolio that you could put together to really review what options and let admissions review and see what opportunities may be able to come over to help you with that next step as well.
And Tammy, I just wanted to add, it's such a great question, and we get it quite often. A lot of it will depend on the school district and what you work. So sometimes you can coordinate things within your own school district, but it's really primarily up to them and what you discuss with our field experience expert. Okay, there's just so many regulations. We would never want to lead you in the wrong direction. So without knowing more detail on that, I'd be hesitant to give you a broad overall answer, but we can certainly discuss it more.
Great, thank you, both of you. Okay, so this next question is from Shamina. Shamina would like to know how long the special education MAT program is. So Kristin, can you help us out with that one?
Sure. Our special education MAT program is anywhere between 63 and actually 60 and 72 credits. So that particular program is wonderful. It's about 2.5 year program, and we do take the 2 classes at a time with that program as well.
Mm-hmm. And again, I'll kind of hop in here. When you're looking at the education program, sometimes we can get a lot of your core curriculum out of the way, but student teaching is obviously only going to run either in a fall or a spring, just because, well, that's when schools are open, right? They mostly close in the summer. So we are able to help you with a year-round schedule. We can break it up. We can do a little bit of a part-time, mostly a full-time, but it does sometimes depend on when you start, where you land, because of that student teaching aspect of fall or spring. Give you a little more insight on that.
Thank you. So Shay, while I've got you there, I'm going to ask you Angel's question. She
Okay.
would like to know, how does the process work if you are a transfer student with an associate and you're looking to pursue a bachelor's?
Yeah, go girl. So we love transfer students. We actually try very hard to get as many credits as we can coming in. When you're looking at education, it really depends on what you took in that associate's degree. If there's maybe education courses that could come in, we look at 2 different ways. We look at a straight transfer, and then we also look at a waiver. Is there anything that you've taken that we could maybe waive into that bachelor's degree? But it's really ideal. So if you're from a regionally accredited school, if you've finished up your associates, if you've, went ahead and graduated with that, a lot of times that associate's degree can waive your gen eds, which is around 45 credits. And then sometimes you can even get an additional more tacked on right onto that bachelor's degree to kind of make it a little faster for you. But we do an evaluation. We get all transcripts on file. We look at everything that we can. We do take into account CLEP testing, prior learning work experience, different things like that as well. And so we do want to try to, if we can, make it a little faster for you. We know school can take a little time, but we do what we can to shorten it.
Great, thank you, Shay.
Mhm.
So Kristin, this person would like to know about student teaching. So how do they choose a school to student teach at? Can they choose their own? How does it work? Will you walk us through that process, please?
I sure can. So Brenau students will have access with the Director of Clinical Experiences, Kim Davis, who's going to secure those placements and arrange supervision. Within the department, they'll also provide opportunity to observe teachers, interact with students that align with the certification and licensing for Georgia standards. Student teaching is a full semester. It is something that they'll work with the director and department on a one-on-one basis, just to make sure, everyone is good and able to maintain everything and work through their next steps.
Perfect. Thank you so much. We have about 5 minutes left of our coffee break. So if you have questions, please go ahead and type them into that Q&A button at the bottom of the screen. But I do have a couple more questions. Shay, I'm going to ask you this one. How does financial aid work for these programs? And has COVID changed any of that?
Yeah, absolutely. No, now's a fantastic time to apply for financial aid. And I'm talking about that June 28th start date. If you have financial aid that's been left over from the 2020-21 aid year, it's actually pretty ideal to start in that June and kind of click to see if maybe you have any Pell Grant or if you have any funding for that year, because come July, it rolls over into the new aid year. And with the pandemic, we don't know what other changes are going to be in the future, but as of right now, financial aid hasn't been touched. Matter of fact, a lot of your past student loans might even go into deferment for you to kind of ease that burden and that little bit of a financial stress during this really crazy hectic time. So it's fantastic to look into your financial aid, and all of our enrollment coaches, they're trained to give you some of that basic information in regards to it and help you identify how much funding you might actually be able to qualify for, and if there's anything that could prevent you from getting that financial aid. Once again, it's so important that you tackle this in a proactive approach so that we can get everything lined up for you seamlessly. But I do recommend, especially if you're a bachelor student, bachelors do get Pell Grant. And I highly, highly, highly recommend, if you're thinking of pursuing into your bachelor's degree, try to get in for that 28 start date, because you can clip that aid year for this year. Kind of give you a little bang for your buck. Okay.
And just to add that, the state of Georgia does offer some great incentives as well. They love
Mhm.
students who attend school in Georgia. There's equalization grants, there's teaching grants, there's all kinds of different things to look into to help with that cost and offset that cost.
Yeah, great point. Absolutely great point.
Perfect. So I think the moral of the story is sign up now and get your financial aid, because there are ways to make to pay for school. So this person, Kristin, I'm going to ask you this question. They would like to know, they live in a state other than Georgia.
Mm.
Should they still take classes at Brenau?
So that's a really good question, and one that I want you to consider your long-term goals. You may take an associate's in education and gain that foundation for the educational program. However, you would not be able to take the bachelor's as it will not benefit you or would not lead to licensing.
Mhm.
So that's something just to consider again for your long-term goals. Possibly the associates would be justified for you initially.
Yep. And really it's a loaded question. So if you're out in Arizona, you don't want to attend school in Georgia to license in Georgia. It just may not work for Arizona standards, meaning you wouldn't be able to teach in Arizona. However, if you're on one of our bordering cities of Georgia, because we do have a few, and a lot of times they'll live outside of Georgia, but they commute and they work within the Georgia boundary. So they are looking for a license within Georgia. That's something that we can discuss and look at and be able to help you out. But essentially, if you're wanting a license and you want to teach, you do want to try to get a license within the state you're hoping to teach. So if you want to move to Georgia, we welcome you here and we'd love for you to do it, but you do want to focus on that. And that's vice versa. If you're looking to relocate into a different state, let's use Arizona again. You plan on moving to good old Arizona. You probably want to look at a program that's going to lead to licensure in that state. Great question.
Perfect. Thank you, Shay. Now, I have one question queued up, and I'll make a last call for questions. So if you have a question, type it in that Q&A box, and we will get it answered. Now, Shay, this question is, how does the process work if you have a bachelor's and master's degree in another field that is not education, but you want to become a teacher?
Yeah, great question. So we want to investigate your personal situation a little bit more. There's a couple of different things that you can do. So we do have our program. You would probably want to pursue an MAT. It would be a second master's for you if you were looking to get another program and get a license. But there are options, and we do have you reach out to the Georgia Standard Commission, and we have you take a look to see if there are options for something called the GATAP. And that's a certificate program that could lead to licensure. So if you want to know if you qualify for that, we actually send you right over to the people who get your license in the beginning, right? Who certify that license to see if that's a good potential for you. But otherwise, you would want to go back for a master's degree, and you'd want to seek that licensure through that master's.
Perfect. Well, thank you to both of you, and thank you to everybody who has sent in your questions. We got some good ones this time around, so thanks for being willing to participate and asking some good ones. One final reminder, we've talked a lot about start dates, and the good thing about Brenau is we have a lot of them. You can start now, or you can start, every couple of months we've got classes starting, but the next one is June 28th. So if you have questions about your application, if you've started one and you're in the middle of it, if you don't really know where to start, give our team a call. If you take a look at the chat in this, at the bottom of your screen, you will see the phone number and this email address available to jot down. We will keep this screen up for a couple of minutes so you can write it down. But give Shay and Kristin a call, and they can help answer all of the remaining questions. They can go through your individual situations and make sure that you are on the right path for you. So thanks again for joining, everybody, and we hope to see you in class.
Yes.
And we hope you have a great night.
Yes.
Thank you.
Everyone, take care. Thank you so much for taking a few minutes. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Have a good night, guys.
Good night.